What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video.
How's everyone doing? And welcome back to another episode. Super excited to be here as Miami has their last home game versus Louisville. I know I'm excited. I know I'm going to be there. I hope all the Canes fans come out and support us. There are a ton, Miami players that have bled green and orange. And I just think that, they deserve the opportunity for us to go out there and support them and say thank you for everything that you've done for us. So before we talk about, Miami and Louisville, what I do want to talk about is Texas A&M. So there are really three candidates for me that I think make sense. It's funny. I was in a Twitter space with some Miami fans, and I kind of said, "Hey, what if Urban Meyer was to go to Texas A&M?" And they literally kicked me off as a speaker. So, one, I think Urban Meyer would be a great choice. I think it would definitely turn some heads inside the college football world, from coaching to recruits, to even some of the former alumni that played at Florida. Like, I couldn't imagine him being at A&M, having all the money and all the resources A&M has, on top of bringing guys back like Tim Tebow, Brandon Spikes, Mike Pouncey, Percy Harvin. Like, if you bring some of those names back, just mentally get the minds right of the players at A&M. A&M does not have a talent problem. Personally, I just think sometimes whenever they get hit in the mouth, they just decide to fold. And so when you talk about guys that were relentless, you're talking about guys that had the mind, just talking about guys that just honestly just love hurting people. And that's kind of how the defensive mindset was set at Florida. I think Urban Meyer would be a great coach. I don't know if they'll get him. I don't know if he wants to go back into college, but I know that when you're talking about someone that would instantly impact players, coaches, etc., Urban Meyer to me is the first thing that comes up. Number two, and I think this could be kind of a stretch because, again, I think he'll do a good job of recruiting, but what I really want to see is his ability, to develop at a high level. It could be Mike Elko. He's done a great job at Duke. I think Duke has been a team that's been slowly rising. They've, fumbled a little bit, but I think that has to do with more Riley Leonard not playing, because he is a superstar for the Duke offense and Duke team in general. But I think Mike Elko could be a name that, potentially gets pulled away from Duke and says, hey, we want to kind of see what you can do. But again, I don't necessarily know if that's going to be the best fit for A&M. And the last one, this one could be really good, but again, it's going to depend on how he recruits. Will Fritz, he's at Tulane. Obviously, they've been winning for the last couple of years. They beat some SEC teams last year. So this guy could be another one, because he has played with, I don't want to say inferior players, but inferior players versus SEC teams. So you're talking about a team that in A&M that has great players, has the ability to recruit. You already got a guy that, can compete in the SEC with a team out of the SEC, which is, kind of cool to see. So I think these are three guys that potentially could have their name called. Again, if I'm A&M, I'm getting Meyer. I'm going out and I'm dropping a bag on a very good offensive coordinator. Maybe you go get like a Cliff Kingsbury. He's at, USC right now as an analyst. Maybe you try to entice him with a huge bag to come over, be your OC at A&M. I think there's a couple of different guys that could be interesting in this spot for A&M. So next, what I want to go over is my personal top 10. Again, this is just if they played at a neutral site, who I think would win. Another one, if you guys want to see, kind of interesting poll as well. Josh Pat actually has his own power rankings, which I definitely agree with most of them. But for me, it's Georgia number one. Again, until they get beat, you can't kind of dethrone number one. Number two is Michigan. I think they're really good. Number three, OSU. I like Ohio State, but I do think that there are some areas where they kind of do get exposed at. But obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is a stud for them. I got number four at Oregon. I think if you put Oregon and Washington again versus each other, I think Oregon wins. Again, if you guys go back and remember, that was a high-scoring game, and Oregon lost off a game-winning field goal. So technically you can't blame Bo Nix and kind of how that game went. But I think if they played again, I don't think Washington wants to see them. Number five is Washington. A lot of this does have to do with Penix and how he plays, but I do like Washington. Their defense does have to step up because sometimes they allow some points, but for the most part, they're a very good team. I got number six is FSU. Again, I get they're undefeated, but to be honest with you, neutral site, I don't know if Florida State beats Washington or Oregon. Again, I know Florida State's undefeated. They are a really good team. But again, after watching them versus Miami, and they struggled a little bit. And again, I know it's a rivalry, but I mean, I just don't think that they beat a team that's going to put up 35, 40 points a game kind of with them and be able to stop them a couple of times. Again, you lock down Keon Coleman, you stop Trey Benson a little bit from running the ball. Their offense does kind of sputter out. Number seven, Texas. I like Texas. I like the fact they're getting Quinn Ewers. I think Texas is going to be a really, really hot topic over the offseason because you have Quinn coming back.
You'll have Arch Manning there, freshman 5-star, most people know about. Then obviously you have Malik Murphy, who's played in some games. He's won some games. So I think there's a huge, I don't say quarterback controversy with like a battle, but I think there's a lot of potential there. So you could have one guy. I think one guy's definitely going to leave. With Quinn Ewers coming back, I'm interested if it's going to be Arch, if it's going to be Malik, could it be both? And they're stuck with, another freshman behind Quinn. So a lot of, quarterback what ifs is happening at Texas. But outside of that, I really like Texas. I like Xavier Worthy. I like a lot of stuff that they're doing there. So great job by Steve Sarkisian, but interesting to see, how they finish. Number 8, Alabama. This team has been a team that I think could jump some. I could potentially see Alabama beating Florida State, to be honest with you, especially if it's at Alabama. But I think that Alabama is starting to answer some questions. I think, Jalen Milroe is playing a lot better. Defense is coming along. Caleb Downs is a freak of nature. Dallas Turner is someone that's wreaking havoc. So great job by Nick, because obviously at the beginning of the year, this team did struggle, but they kind of found their identity. They found how to, play within each other, play within like themselves. They're looking a lot better. Number 9, Missouri. They just absolutely waxed Tennessee at Tennessee. So great job by them. They're a team that, again, they had the kind of Dow game versus Georgia for the most part. You go back and look at their season, they played very, very good, and they've done a great job of competing throughout every game. So I like Missouri at 9. And number 10, I like Louisville. Louisville's, to me, I think there's a couple teams like I'll probably take Oregon State over Louisville, to be honest with you. There's a couple of teams that are like, 10, 11, or really 11, 12, 13 that I think, has a chance to kind of beat Louisville. Some of that has to do with their strength of schedule. I don't think Louisville has the greatest strength of schedule. But I tell you what, man, they're creative. They play good defense. They have, a really good win versus Notre Dame. But I think they kind of got knocked down because Notre Dame also got beat by Clemson. So I do like Louisville. But again, I think if you just look at record, you have them up there, but also I think if you look at the other teams, some of the schedule teams they played, I don't think Louisville's technically a top 10 team, but I do have them here for at least now. So now we're going to get to Miami football. Okay, guys. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the defense. Okay, so these are kind of, my keys to victory for our defense. Number 1, it is what it is. Creating turnovers. We have to win turnover margin. We got to be at least +2 and maybe even a pick 6 because this team is very good for Louisville. Number 2, understand the weaknesses of the defense inside and out. And the reason why I say that is when you watch Louisville's offense, they run so many formations. I mean, I'm seeing them in stacks. I'm seeing them with tight ends off. I'm seeing them in empties. I'm seeing them in bunch formations. I'm seeing them in the I formation. I'm seeing them with the offset formation. So they run a lot of formations. They run a lot of plays. They throw a lot of stuff at you. So for you as a defender, okay, if I know I have the flats, okay, so what's the weakness? If it's cover 3 corner bells, I run to the flats. Usually the weakness is a slant flat where it kind of puts me in conflict. So I need to understand if I'm the flat player, if they kind of run these certain combinations, where my weaknesses is, where is he most likely to go, and how do I minimize it? What plays can I not give up? Which guys can I not allow to catch the ball? Okay, again, and keeping everything in front of you is going to be key because they do have, some weapons with Thrasher. So I think it could be interesting to see. But I think a lot of it's going to be the defenses understanding their coverage, their responsibilities, because again, motion shifts and a lot of different coverage variations really does give, defenses problems when you just kind of line up and run at them. Gives them a chance to check, or not really check, but understand what they're doing, understand their task. But again, you throw 7, 8, 9 formations into one drive, and you keep doing that over and over again, it starts adding on, and you're going to find mismatches and leverages based on different formations. So going to be interesting on that side. Number 3, no more explosive plays. And I want to say no more explosive plays, but make them drive the field. Don't give them kind of that Trey Benson 33, 38-yard touchdown run where he's bobbing and weaving and running and they score. Like, make them drive the field, make them get into the red zone, make them score on you guys. When you guys make teams drive the field, most teams can't drive it on you guys because you guys are really, really good, okay? So that would be it, is if we can minimize big plays, most teams won't score on us. Even when they do get into the red zone, it's probably going to get field goal. Again, great job by our defense. I love the way they're playing. They are playing their hearts out. But if we can minimize really big explosive plays, especially ones that score, it'll really save us a lot. Number 4, stop the run game. They are going to try to run it. When I watched them versus Duke, they did do a good job of running the ball versus Duke. And Duke does have a pretty good defense. But again, man, it's going to be about stopping the run, making Jack Plummer beat us through the air, which he does have a good arm. If you give him open guys, he will hit them. But if you can make this team one-dimensional, kind of make them focus on the pass game, I think they struggle a little more. Do let them run, pass, because Jake Plummer can roll out. So when you're adding play action pass, not only play action pass, you're adding old school bootleg where he'll fake it, roll out, and you got a down flat and a cross, and just puts a lot of conflict with the linebackers. So, stopping the run, making them one-dimensional is going to be really, really big for keys to this game.
Now let's go over to our offense. Okay, so number one, getting TBD comfortable. I think TBD's gonna have to rip it. I think he has to over 350 plus. I think he needs 2 or 3 touchdown passes. If he does have an interception, you need to have 4 touchdown passes because Louisville will score. We got to score at least 28 to 35 plus to beat them. I don't think we can score 20, 24 points and beat a team like Louisville. So getting TBD comfortable, getting him hot. Again, I like the quick game. I like the screens, but to me, he's not a quarterback that gets comfortable off that. He's a quarterback that, hey, take 2 or 3 go routes. Maybe the first route is 4 verts. First pass play is 4 verts. Next pass play is post, cross, dig. Every route past 10 to 12 yards. Give him some chunk shots so that he can calm down, kind of get him out of his system and then go. Again, you're not going to win with TBD playing just underneath short game. That's not his style of play. He gets into his head. So figure out how to make him comfortable and do it. Number 2, creating opportunities and matchups. Again, we kind of saw it last week with Brashard in the backfield, Don Chaney and Fletcher in the slot. I think there's some stuff there. Obviously, you don't want to really run stuff with the running back, but I think you can do simple mesh concepts or, hey, man, you're going to run a shallow, more just like a drag to pull the guy out, and there's some different stuff behind it. But, creating matchups, creating opportunities through formations, through motions, through stacks, different things like that, bunch formations, find ways to really, get your guys leverage, again, because our receivers doing a great job of winning, but not every play. So the plays that, if you can say, hey, they win 50% of the time, but then the other 30, I'm going to help you guys out by giving you guys good leverage, by giving you guys, really good, maybe you're running a fade route. And I know, hey, when he motions it, he's going to be slightly inside of you instead of outside just based on the motion. So now you're creating leverage matchups that really help your wide receivers. Number 3, controlling the ball and the turnover margin. I think the time of possession is going to be really, really key. We can't have turnovers early. We can't have 3 and outs. We got to be able to control the ball, run the ball, control the time of clock, give Louisville minimum, amounts of drives. Even if our drives are just field goals, if we can eat up 4 or 5 minutes of clock per drive, I think that really, really helps us because, again, our defense is hard to score on. The less drives we give Louisville, the more it really helps us. So I think, controlling the ball and not creating a lot of turnovers is really going to help us on offense. And number 4, creating pass plays for drop 8. When people will go to that drop 8 coverage, I saw it the first play that Louisville ran versus Duke. They went 4 down. They had a defensive end standing up. As soon as the ball was snapped, quarterback dropped back, defensive end dropped out. They went 3 down rush, dropped it. They wound up sacking the quarterback, but it's in there. They've shown it. They'll run it. We got to be ready for it because they will do it to TBD. We've seen plenty of teams do it to TBD. And so it's about, hey, Dawson, we brought you here for this reason. I mean, obviously you're a really smart guy. We trust you. We understand, what you want to do and how you want to build it. But we got to get this guy comfortable because if we don't adjust this year, you can't tell me teams aren't going to see it next year. We're definitely going to see it next year until we adjust, until we show you, hey, when you go drop 8, we're either going to run down your throat and get 15 yards, or we found some pass concepts that really work and we're going to hit you guys deep, or find some, I don't really know what they're going to do. That's their job. It's why they get paid the most. But again, finding pass plays or finding plays in general that beat the drop 8 on, on a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, that kind of gets you the first down, because that's something that we're seeing sporadically. I don't even say sporadically. That's stuff we're seeing a lot nowadays, especially for us offense, Miami in general. And how we've been combating it has not been super effective yet. So hopefully by now we can figure out a way to fix it. The last thing I'm going to talk about is bring back Ken Dorsey. I know there's a ton of this on Twitter. Honestly, I'm a fan as well, to be real with you guys. Number 1 is, why not? What does it hurt? Whose feelings are you scared to hurt? The guy wants to come here. Why not? That's my question. Why not? So until I get that answer, I'm going to keep asking it. Number 2, he helps with recruiting. You're talking about someone that lived and breathed Miami football, won national championships, has crazy records, has been in the NFL, knows how to evaluate, knows what the league looks for, has NFL connections, can get guys to where they want to go. I mean, it's the same reason why we brought Alonzo here. NFL connections, NFL prospecting, NFL measurables, understanding how to get people where they need to go. There's no difference in Dorsey here. And number 3, he can help you with culture. Like he helped build one of the best cultures in Miami history. And you tell me as a coach, he can't help build the same thing with younger guys that love UM and that, I just think I really don't know why we wouldn't add him unless it was something like he doesn't want to, or there was some type of conflict or something like that. I really don't see a reason why we wouldn't add Ken Dorsey to our list. Great guys. I mean, we already have the great Jason Taylor on our staff on the defensive side. So why not add a guy like Ken Dorsey or someone like that can really help us on the offensive side? Again, I think this would be a great add-on. And again, I don't see why. So we'll see what Miami decides to do. A lot of this is on Mario and Alonzo and who they want to bring in and who they want to hire. But again, I don't see why Dorsey wouldn't at least get a call unless he said no. But earlier, I really hope you guys do come out and support the Miami Hurricanes. I know, every game that at least home game I went to and you guys showed up, I always appreciate it, always loved it. I know, especially for these seniors, that'll be their last home game at Hard Rock wearing orange and green. I know what type of impact that has. Maybe you run out and you get to hear people yelling for you and saying thank you and congratulations. So again, if you guys can make it, please do. I want the stadium packed. I'm tired of hearing people talking about our stadium sucks. I'm tired of people talking about our fans suck. So if you guys can make it, it's 12. You guys should be able to get a little drunk and then go out a little later and already kind of use, the Miami as your pregame. The tickets aren't that expensive at all. So to me, there's really not a lot of excuses. If you guys love Miami football, then you'll show up. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Canes.